Good morning, early game crew. Halfway through another game week leading into South Carolina versus Oklahoma. The fair game, so I hope you're prepared. Shane Beamer made sure to talk about that yesterday. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. And Preston, I have not had an experience. Well, I've had one experience with the fair game. One. Thankfully, there was none last year. But I can only describe my fair game experience from 2023 against Florida as a nightmare.
It's fair game.
Yeah.
I would even say foul.
Yes, foul game.
Because I left the stadium like 2 hours after the game, and it still took me like 2 hours to get home.
Evening game, right? Florida game was maybe an 3:30-ish or one of those games that went into the evening. Not to mention, we blew a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. Not to mention that.
Same afternoon, yes. That was the Graham Mertz and Ricky Pearsall game. I put both of them in there because I don't know how many times Graham Mertz threw for over 400 yards in a game in his career, but that was one of them. And I still firmly believe that's one of the performances that got Ricky Pearsall drafted in the first round of the NFL draft.
Graham Mertz still in the league, Houston Texans.
That's right.
Did not know that. All right. He still plays that game on loop. He's like, listen, man, you want to know what I can do? Watch this game.
If he ever gets that's like the depressed game, right?
Yes.
Like if you're having a really bad week, he's going to put that game on and be like, I had it.
Yeah, fair traffic is tough, man. It's a lot. It's a lot going on. It's excitement to the city, obviously tradition, but it is a difficult combination, and the roads are not very good at handling. So, Shane, I believe you gave the advice of getting there early, get there often, be there on time because it's going to be a mess.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be a mess, and I've got my plan in place because I'll be doing the Gamecocks Game Day preview show leading into network coverage with Tyler Head very early. That'd be at 7:30. I'm going to get there about, 45 minutes to an hour early. Make sure I got a spot over there.
Take a nap in the car.
Take a nap in the car. Might not move my car and might have the game plan to, once I leave Williams-Brice, just walk over there, grab a few beers, watch Ole Miss in Georgia until it clears out a little bit.
Yeah, that's probably the plan.
Had to formulate that game plan.
That's probably your best plan for this weekend for sure.
So I highly advise if you plan on going to the game or the fairs, make sure you understand how much traffic's going to be in the area and just plan accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
Take a couple minutes and think about it. Reconsider. Read some literature on the subject, and then you should be able to be good to find your way to wherever it is you want to go on Saturday because it is going to be crazy. But Shane Beamer spoke about that and, of course, a bunch of other stuff. I mean, we're coming off of a 20-10 loss to LSU. You're 3-3 right now. You're looking down. Your season's at a crossroads right now. You can either turn it around, do what you did last year. You can settle for an okay season, or this thing can completely go off the rails, right? It's not a fork in the road. It's more like a three-pronged fork in the road because I think this thing can go one of three different ways. Got to avoid this thing going off the rails because of what you have lying ahead of you. You had a defense at LSU that we said was one of the best in the country. Well, the team that's coming in on Saturday, even better defensively in terms of all the metrics. Arguably the hottest team in college football coming after that. A top 10 team in Ole Miss on the road. A top 5 team in Texas A&M on the road. Good chance that things go off the rails if you don't take action and improve immediately.
Different challenges, obviously, throughout those 5 games because each of those teams present a unique quandary for you as you play them. But I would say that Oklahoma and LSU are the most similar in the style of defense that they play, meaning they aim to cause havoc. And I don't know what the havoc rates are or the blitz percentages are, but I would imagine that these are two of the most similar in what they're aimed to do as a defense. So it's not as if you can copy and paste the game plan. I'm not saying that. But there are very similar things that you have to prepare for when you're playing the LSU defense and a Brent Venables defense. Mainly it's just havoc.
Yeah.
Things are flying everywhere.
And I don't remember which cut it would be on here because some of them kind of run together. But Shane did mention that, on Monday the tape he watches, or I guess on Sunday, the tape he watches is the havoc tape, right?
Oh, okay.
He gets cut up so the other team's havoc plays, which if you don't know, are just plays that are like negative yards, sacks, interceptions, turnovers, like pretty much a defense's version of explosive plays. And he says usually, about this deep into the season, he's watching about 35 to 45 plays. The cut-up for Oklahoma was 68 plays.
Yes, that makes absolute sense with what we know about a Brent Venables defense. And they're not necessarily a boom or bust type of defense because they're good.
They're good, yeah.
Brent Venables' defense has been great in the past, and he's a great defensive coordinator. He's finally finding his footing as a head coach. But that is their aim as a defense. They're not a bend but don't break type of team. They are going to try and break you.
Right.
They're trying to break you early and often by sending blitzes, by sending multiple people, by doing some unconventional things. So it's probably fun to play in a Brent Venables defense, probably not fun to prepare for a Brent Venables defense.
No, and we'll get to what Shane had to say about the Brent Venables defense later on because he went for almost 3 minutes talking about what it's like to have to prepare for a Brent Venables defense. But the big news for this team in terms of the action they can take to avoid one of those three options.
Main thing that Shane hit on is this idea of language in the building, because every coach has a language that they speak, and Sean's language has to try and translate from Lonnie to Sean Elliott. So the players are going to be listening, and they're going to say, oh, you mean this? And he's going to say, well, yeah. What did Lonnie call that? Yeah. Well, now it's this. Or we're calling it this, or now it's this. And that's sort of how teaching works. And the old saying is, you haven't taught until they've learned. And so doesn't matter what you're saying, doesn't matter what you're doing, doesn't how much you're trying. If they didn't get the message, you didn't teach it properly. And so Sean has to come in there and try and figure out, as Shane said, another way, whether it's reiterating what they said, throwing out what they used to do, drawing on the line, demonstrating, whatever has to be, there has to be something to get the message across, because obviously it wasn't happening when with Lonnie.
And this has got to be in such a short time frame.
Yes.
I mean, we've been in all the off season learning one system, one way, or one level of communication, language patterns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that is a little.
So yes, they're in a crash course for sure. Yeah, things are happening very, very quickly, and everybody's having to adjust to everybody else extremely quickly. But as I said yesterday, with Sean coming in, I imagine some people are going to sit up straighter in their chairs. I just think, just kind of knowing the personality dynamics, I feel like
A little different.
Yeah, and the oxygen in the room might get a little bit thinner.
Yeah. I would say, the understatement of the year would be that Sean Elliott is intense.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Not criticizing, but it's.
When we had Sean Elliott on the post game show, it was like last summer maybe, like when he took the job, right? We had him on, and I remember, in the middle of that interview thinking, wow, I don't think I've ever been headbutted through the phone before, but this is what it would feel like. And that's not a bad thing, right? Like the guy's like always, all the time, 100%. And I think if you want like the perfect encapsulation of who Sean Elliott is as a coach, you watch that video of when he was at Georgia State, when they were playing here, actually, and he's headbutting all the players before the game, and they have helmets on, and I'm sure they probably absorbed more impact than he did. Again, they have helmets on, he does not. But that's the type of coach he is, right? That's his coaching style, and it's a lot different than Lonnie. That's one thing that we've talked about, was whether or not you'd make a lot of schematical changes, or whether or not you do tweak up lineups or whatever. Those are that's part of the game, but clearly something's not being taught correctly as it pertains to pass protection, maybe run blocking, that a different style of teacher can get through to them.
Yeah, and just to tweak what you just said, it's not even that Lonnie wasn't teaching it correctly, it's that it wasn't connecting.
Yes.
Right?
There's a disconnect.
There's a disconnect there because it wasn't happening. It's not malpractice. It's not saying he obviously knows what he's talking about.
Yes.
You don't ascend to that level, but there was a difference between, it doesn't, again, as a teacher, it doesn't matter what you know, it matters what you can get them to know. If you get up there and you're talking about all the stuff you know and your students don't know it, you didn't do your job. And that's kind of the basis. That's the basis of it. So to go on that, as Shane talking about teaching being like coaching, well, yeah, just like teaching, it doesn't really matter how much the teacher knows. It matters what the teacher can get the students to learn. And so that's the challenge.
And how much can be reflected in tests. And the tests are game days.
Right.
And the last game day we had, 65% of the passing dropbacks were pressured. You failed the test.
That's a great analogy, because yes, you can do well in practice and that's fine, but the test is game day, and you have to do, no matter what or when or where, in order to succeed, you're going to have to do well on test at any level on anything. So test is coming up Saturday. Get prepared.
It's like, students don't often learn this lesson, because I don't know how many students have their teachers fired for bad testing scores in the middle of a year, but this team learned that your teacher, your coaches, are graded on how you, or they are judged on how you do on tests, not the exercises, not the worksheets, not the homework. You're graded, or they are graded on how you do on the tests. So their job is to make sure they perform that on Saturdays. But one of the things they failed at too were procedural penalties. That's the thing that almost made every Gamecock ball from ripping their hair out on Saturday, is because it killed every single offensive drive and any bit of offensive momentum you had. But can that change before we get to Saturday and you play a stingy Oklahoma defense? We'll get to that next on the early game.
Press here for our friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. So if your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. If it's a cracked windshield, that's no problem. They'll come out to your location and they'll replace it for you, usually for free, and they'll work directly with your insurance to take away the headache. That's right. They'll come out to wherever you are, school, home, work. It does not matter. Absolute Glass will come out to you and take care of the job for you. Now, if you're at home, you're looking to increase the value of your home, you can do that with new windows and mirrors, and Absolute Glass will take care of that for you too. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. They say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
Coming into Columbia, if you're coming in from the upstate, exit 82, the right lane is currently blocked. So, kind of in the Prosperity area, I 26 eastbound. Going to want to get left. And forecast wise, yep, still looking pretty darn nice for the next few days. 81 with sunny skies today, 77 tomorrow. And then Friday morning, it's going to be extra cool, overnight low of 48. So Friday morning will be a little on the brisk side, and 74 for the high on Friday. But as we look to game day, sunny and 80. Right now, though, 59 on 107.5 The Game.
What plagued South Carolina the most on Saturday, out of the litany of things that limited you to 10 points, were the penalties. We've talked about it ad nauseum this week about how many penalties? 13. How many of those were procedural penalties? 9 total. 7 on offense, 2 on defense. And how bad it affected your drives. Look no further than the example of when South Carolina finally got to LSU's 26. It's the furthest down the field. They took a snap in that game. They had 1st and 10. It's the fourth quarter. It's a chance to tie this ball game because despite not taking any snaps inside LSU's 26, you still were a touchdown away from tying the game. But instead of it being 1st and 10 on the 26, you had a false start penalty, followed by an intentional grounding penalty, which made it about 2nd and 18 near midfield. And then guess what happened? You came away from that drive with no points. That's one of the many reasons that you lost that game, one of the many reasons that a change was made at the offensive line coach. But how much of this can actually change? It's a lot of what we're talking about this morning. But when it comes to procedural penalties, how much can be fixed? How much can be rectified before playing a team that's even tougher on defense in such a short amount of time? And Shane Beamer was asked about that yesterday. He went in further detail on how they're planning on trying to cut down on the pre-snap penalties.
Confident, but then also you turn on the tape of Oklahoma and you see how active they are, and I think they're, right at the top of the SEC in sacks and TFLs, and I think I've told you guys before on Mondays I always watch what I call the havoc tape, and it's just the opponent's tackles for loss, sacks, and turnovers. And usually in a 4-game body of work, there's, 30 plays on there. I think it was 68 yesterday. And even Hunter, he had the day off from school, and he was up here with me. He went to the fair and came over here for about 30 minutes and brought me dinner, and he was watching it with me and was like, oh, my God. And it's a lot on there. So they're active. But that is the hope, certainly, Jordan, that we can cut down on the, pre-snap penalties. Today at practice, Sean was literally lined up across from the center pretty much every play of practice, screaming, yelling, clapping, barking, blowing whistles, making move calls himself, just trying to make things as difficult as possibly can. So would it be nice to say that we're going to go out there and have 0 pre-snap penalties on Saturday? Yes, it would be nice to say that. Is that realistic? I don't know, but it definitely needs to be less than, I think we had 6 on offense the other night alone. And I think of those 6, 5 were on the offensive line. So yeah, we need to cut down on that without a doubt, and maybe a different, voice will help us do that. And that's certainly, we've been trying to emphasize it and implement it even more in practice, but you just, a different voice in that room may help things just from a mental standpoint of the scheme we're asking them to run, what we're asking them to do on the play once the ball snapped, but then also the leading up to the snap too, the things that's going on in our minds.
Get on the line. Exactly. I hear you, Shane. Oh, that's cool. That's great or whatever. Yes, I talked to one of my mentors, a football coach locally. One of the best football coaches in the state. And I asked him, I said, Coach, what would you do in this situation? He got a sick grin on his face. He just said,
sick grin. Oh,
he said, I got some medicine for that.
That sounds so ominous.
I got some medicine for that. And that, he just laughed it off. He just said, I got some medicine for that. So yes, the procedural penalties must be addressed. And I don't think it's unrealistic to say that we can expect 0 procedural penalties. That has to be the standard. That has to be where you start. Anything above 0 is negligent to the offense. May something happen? Sure, but you'll get punished for them. You'll be held accountable for them. But let's start at 0. That is a very fair. That is a very that is not unrealistic, and that is someplace where you can start as an expectation for the offensive line. 0 procedural penalties. That's a great place to start.
Well, especially when you're at home.
Yeah.
I can bake in a few on the road, especially in Death Valley, where, again, can attest, it was loud
Mhm.
in that building. I can understand one or two if if you think you hear a clap or you think you hear something or you can't hear it all, right? And you don't move at the same time as the rest of your offensive linemen, or if it's so loud that one middle linebacker ends up going, move, and then you jump at the move call. But at home, it should be a lot easier. It should be a whole lot easier. And I think that's the one thing about this offensive line too, that when it comes to a lot of the procedural penalties, is there's just been so many of those at home, where part of having a home field advantage is not succumbing to things like that.
And I just want to reiterate, because Shane always says that practice matters and practice does matter for a team. They don't just go out there on Saturday and start jumping off sides. This is obviously something that is happening during the week. And so it must be corrected during the week. And it must be corrected immediately. We talked about this before. It's like your puppy. He can't pee in the can't pee in the living room, and then you go punish him a couple hours later.
Nope.
They don't know what happened. They're like, why are you rolling up the newspaper at me?
What did I do?
What did I do? I'm just being cute.
I'm just laying here.
You can't just be like, no, you peed on the carpet 3 hours ago. No. As soon as they pee on the carpet, you got to reinforce it right now.
So we're going to see basically a bunch of players having their noses rubbed in the dirt.
Absolutely.
Right.
You jump off sides, get out.
Yeah.
Get out. I don't care if it's a public showing. I don't care if it's a public
To
shaming.
get their attention.
If you jump off sides, you're out. It might just be for one play, but you will not continue to play if you jump off sides. Rub your nose in it. You pee on the carpet, you rub your nose in it. You can't do it. You can't do it next week. You can't do it in film because they don't remember. So
That's a great point.
You got to do it now. So yes, this can be changed, and it can be changed immediately. I expect if somebody jumps off sides on Saturday, they should be at least taken out for a play.
Jen, things we should watch for on Saturday in the press box.
Mm-hmm.
Look, find Sean Elliott before the game. Know where he's hanging out. If you see a procedural penalty, I'm curious to see what the reaction
Oh,
is.
me too, man. I'm really excited. Can he wear something that glows a little bit, like a little beacon, so we can really see him?
Oh, you'll see his face
And track
glowing.
him. Yeah,
You'll see his
true.
face. He'll be radiating. It's just heat.
Or if you see smoke just coming from somebody's head on the sideline, you're like,
There he is.
there's
There he
Coach
is.
Elliott. Found him. Not too hard to find. But that's also part of Coach Sean Elliott's coaching style, right? That's how he ticks. But
Right.
how much is going to be different with him as head coach in terms of maybe getting the results? What's it going to look like, or what does Shane Beamer expect it to look like? That was a big point of discussion yesterday. Shane continued to talk about that and going into specifics about what is going to be different with him as the offensive line coach. We'll break that down and continue this discussion next here on the early game.
Hey, y'all, it's press for Cato's Power Equipment. Cato's Power Equipment is family-owned and serving the Midlands since 1983. That's over 40 years. And third-generation owner Ben Cato provides top-notch service, great deals, and the mom-and-pop values that you love. Ben is determined to raise the standard of sales, service, and retail. At Cato's, we're proud to offer a wide selection of new and pre-owned mowers, tractors, and more. So if they're ready to invest in something new, the friendly team is there to make the process easy, help you choose the right equipment, find financing options, and keep your gear running strong with expert service and parts. Whether you're a weekend warrior or a seasoned landscaping pro, Cato has got you covered with a huge selection of new and pre-owned mowers, powerful tractors, and all the gear you need to tackle any outdoor project. So swing by Cato's Power Equipment today or call them at 803-254-3711. That's 803-254-3711.
Heading inbound I-26 eastbound at exit 82, the right lane is blocked, so you'll want to be obviously wanting to stay left. I-77 southbound at 12th Street, which would be exit 2. On the exit ramp, there is a report of an accident. Weather is looking really, really nice. 81 today under sunny skies. We really are going to keep these sunny conditions until about maybe Sunday, where we could see an afternoon shower. But today's high is 81. 77 tomorrow. The overnight low into early Friday morning going to be 48. So certainly some jacket weather coming up. Right now, 59 on the early game.
With the change at offensive line coach, what can we expect things to be different? How differently will it actually look on Saturday? Because here's the problem. You're coming off a loss, which your offensive line predominantly is the reason why you only scored 10 points. You played against a really good defense. Well, I regret to inform you, the defense coming into Williams-Brice Stadium is better by almost every metric. They force more negative plays. They have a higher stop rate. They are top 5 in almost any category you can think of defensively. Think of it in your head right now. What are really good defensive categories? Interceptions, yeah, that's good for a defense. Sacks, that's really good for a defense. Forced fumbles, that's really good for a defense too. Not giving up a lot of points, that's good for a defense too. Oklahoma's top 5 in all those. In anything you could possibly think of, Oklahoma's defense does really well. The urgency cannot be stressed enough about fixing this situation right now. And Shane Beamer talked more about this yesterday, including what the difference with the offensive line will be under Coach Elliott.
Yes, if I was Oklahoma, I would go back and study every game that Sean had as the head coach at Georgia State, every game that he coached here as the offensive line coach, and every game that he coached at App State. And that's a good start for them and everything. Now, having said that, in all seriousness, certainly there's going to be things in the run game that he really likes that maybe we haven't been doing as much that we'll, add. Certainly, we're going to add some things to the scheme, but we're also, you can't just blow everything up and say, okay, all of a sudden we're going to become a, whatever type team, and we haven't been doing it all season. So we're going to continue to do what we do, but there'll be some new, twist off of it. There may be 1 or 2 new schemes that he feels like he wants to implement. So there will be some schematic changes. I think more than anything, David, it's just a different voice in that room. Every coach is different. My style is different than Kirby Smart's style or Steve Spurrier as a head coach. Every coach is different, and you got to be who you are. And Lonnie Teasley's style of coaching is different than Sean Elliott's. Doesn't make one right or wrong. It's just different. So that'll probably be the biggest thing. It's just the coaching style, the voice in that room. There'll be some things that we've tweaked already, just in regards to some technique things and terminology of how we call some things that Sean's more comfortable with. So there'll be some changes. You can't blow the whole thing up, but definitely some schematic changes, and then just general coaching tweaks.
General coaching tweaks, some changes, especially in style, but that leads us to this one too. What are the different ways an offensive line coaches the game? What's the different way, or how many different ways actually can they teach the game? How many different styles can there be? This is cut 10, Jen, on Shane talking about that.
I've been around a lot of different offensive line coaches in my time, when I start going back through the head of all the great line coaches I've been around, there's some, great ones going back to my graduate assistant days and then my assistant coach days. And they all have different ways of teaching what, one coach may call a line call to slide to the right. One coach may call it Ray, one coach may call the same thing. Rock, one coach may call the same thing. Roger, one coach may call the same thing. Ricky, and it's just that's their call and their style. And I think it's a tough position to coach because his style is a lot different than Sam Pittman's, who I worked with at Georgia. It's just different styles of coaching. Doesn't make one right or wrong. I think the biggest thing, Lulu, is just one, be who you are. That's got to be your style. And as a coach, whether it be offensive line or any position, your personality needs to show in your players. And I tell our guys all the time, you're the head coach of your position. So what you're putting on tape, like, that's your resume, and that's how hard they play. That's an indictment on you and a reflection of you. And more so than anything, whether it be offensive line or other positions, I just think it's the connection that you have with guys and the relationships that you have with guys where you're spending time with them, yes, on the field, but you're spending time with them off the field where, one, they're playing with great effort for you because they love you and they care about you and you're connected. But then, two, you're building those connections and bonds because, let's face it, that offensive line is unlike any other position on the team because it's 5 guys that all have to be in lockstep. So I don't know if that really answers your question, but I think every coach has their own style. Every coach is different, and you got to be who you are. But I think the one common denominator is the alignment that we're all in this together for one another. That you can coach them this style, but at the end of the day, us 5, like, we're aligned with our coach and the rest of that offensive line group to go be who we are. And to me, that the great ones I've been around, that's what they were able to get.
He said a lot. He said a lot with that statement. Let me start with this. I don't think anybody who has accused or even felt as if the offensive line hasn't been playing with effort.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't been playing with execution. And I think those are two things, right? So you haven't seen them play with lack of effort. They've been playing with lack of execution. And I think those are two different things. So I don't want to think – but there may be some extra strain that Sean may be able to get out of them. The ways, if you're not a yeller and a screamer and you say, this year I'm going to be a yeller and a screamer, it's not going to last because it's not who you are. Very similar to what we do here. I mean, we can try and fake it, but after talking on the radio for 3 hours, you're gonna get exposed.
If I'm winging it, yeah, you're gonna know.
You're gonna know, right? So I say all that to say the new voice coming in, Shane. I was thinking about this last night with Sean. You think Sean's been like you seen The Incredibles?
Oh, great film. Yes.
You think he's been like Mr. Incredible? He's like sitting there like, I want to get back to being a superhero.
I have. I've been wearing my suit, but underneath.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been coaching these tight ends over here, and this is fine, but I just want to.
Lifts now he's got a chance to lift up the car, right? and he's going to do that right now. And
Or
scare
doing the
kids'
Hulk
neighborhood.
thing where all of a sudden just,
Yeah,
everything
man,
just rips.
Yeah,
he's
because
raring to
being a
go.
tight ends coach is cool, but you got to coach pass routes and block, like edge blocking. Like, this is fine, but now I get to be Mr. Incredible again.
I get to get in someone's face again,
You know what I'm
like
saying?
that, right?
And where is Dash? Because I need a Dash on my team.
Exactly. Who's gonna be the one that's following him? Who's gonna be the one? I was just thinking. That's what I was thinking about. Like, I think, like, Sean's been like, yes, I finally get to do one last. I have a very special set of skills,
a very specific, special set of skills,
and I get to use them. So I'm sure he's not. It's not what he wanted, but deep down he gets to just. Because here's another thing. Sean's been having to be a head coach where you don't get to do as much of that stuff, a tight end coach where he just gets to go back to just coaching ball, what he loved doing at a time. So I'm sure he's really enjoying this.
Oh, he gets to be in his element. And for that, I'm actually kind of happy for him a little bit. He gets to be in his element a little bit. Sean Elliott will not be a sad boy to be an offensive line coach. But the theme, one of the most important quotes I got yesterday from that press conference, can't be sad boys. And I'll tell you why next. The Gamecocks are 3-3. Last year, through 6 games, they were 3-3. A similar turnaround will be required for you to try to meet a lot of the goals they had at the beginning of the season. But Shane Beamer talked about that, compared maybe what has to be done this year to some other turnarounds, like in 2022 after falling to Florida and getting embarrassed and then beating 2 teams that were in college football playoff contention to end your season. Or last year when you started 3-3 and won 6 games in a row and became the hottest team in college football. But how does this situation compare to those other 2? Here's what Shane had to say.
I think it's different. You know, you think about last year we were 3-3. That was the halfway point of the season. Florida in 22, that was game 10, I think, was the Florida game. So it's different points of the season. I think the only thing I take from it, Hale, is just continuing to just keep getting better and what's next and what's in front of us. And yeah, that's in the past. That's in the rearview mirror. The first 6 games, we've learned from it, but it's behind us. And 2 years ago after Florida, last year after Ole Miss, and then Alabama, that's behind us. All we can control is what's next. And right now, what's next is today it was having a great Tuesday practice. Tomorrow is having a great Wednesday practice, and then going out there and focusing on Oklahoma and trying to play really well against a really good team on Saturday, and just keep moving forward, control what you can control, and keep getting better. And that's what I told the team out there at the end of practice today was we've always been a team that has gotten better as the year has gone. You can say a lot about the teams that I've coached as the head coach, but one thing that you can't say is that we haven't gotten better every single season as the year goes. And I saw signs of that. We didn't win the game, but I saw signs of that on Saturday, and saw signs of that with the way that we went out and approached practice on Sunday night after I got off the teleconference with you guys, and the way that we practiced today. I see signs of us, not signs, I see us getting better. And then the key for us that you take from previous years and then this year is we've just got to keep doing that and keep moving forward. And we can't sit around here and be sad boys because we're 3-3 and just lost a heartbreaker in a lot of ways to LSU. It's pick yourself off the mat and get ready to go again. And that's life. And that's what we did in 22. That's what we did in 23 to a certain degree when we were sitting there at 2-6 and what we did last year and what we need to do this year as well.
Can't be sad boys.
What a great quote. Best quote of the year by Shane, by far.
Sad boys, what you gonna do?
No pouting allowed. Even though you're 3-3, you can't. Yeah, that's number one.
There's no crying in football.
Yeah.
There's not.
A locker room full of sad boys.
You can't have a locker room full of sad boys.
And trust me, it can happen. It can happen, man. You lose a couple of games, you get on the streak, man. Everybody just walks in the facility like, oh.
You didn't experience that at all, did you?
Yeah, a locker room full of sad boys is not where you want to be. You lose the last 5 games of a year after you started 6-1.
Oh,
sad boys in effect.
Sad boy city.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but it's a fact though. And also he said that they have always improved as a team, and that's something that I give Shane a lot of credit for, and that's something that I think as a fan base you can maybe hold on to, is that Shane Beamer's teams have always progressed as the season goes along.
Yeah, and because here's the thing, you're certainly going to have to right now, and you're going to have to finish strong to salvage what you've had to start this season. And it's very unfortunate for them that they started off the way they did in the first 6 games, because those first 5 were the most manageable on the schedule, and now you're facing this gauntlet that you have right now. And it was still hard at times last year. Things broke for them a little bit, but it was still hard last year. Texas A&M was number 10 when they came in here. Missouri was ranked when they came in here last year. And you're not winning that game if you're sad boying around, right? I mean, I've covered teams that have been sad boys after a couple of really bad conference games to start the year. I was on a beat writing assignment for an 0-18 Vanderbilt men's basketball team. And, buddy, that sad boy spread throughout that locker room so fast that I was accusing this team of quitting with like a month left in the season because it got ugly. I still to this, I will never see a team get derailed quite like that one, where a season just completely goes off the tracks and it is sabotaged at that point. I don't know if that's going to get, I don't think it's going to get that way here, but that is what sad boyness will do to your locker room.
We haven't been to Lawsuit City in a while, but Sad Boy City is around the corner. It's on the GPS.
We're one wrong exit away.
We're a blowout away from Sad Boy City for sure.
And that's another place. You don't take your GPS there, right? So you don't type that in.
Where am I
Sometimes
going?
you just get detoured
How did I
because
get here?
you mess up somewhere along the way, and now you're in Sad Boy City, and you're trying to figure out a way to get out of there. And there's the thing too. Sometimes in Sad Boy City, the reception don't work, so
That's
the
true.
GPS
Yeah, man.
on your phone might not be able to get you back onto the right track.
Great quote. My Sad Boy album is Depression Cherry by Beach House.
Oh man, now you're talking. Oh, big Beach House fan.
See, did not know that.
Love
look,
Beach
look at
House.
us.
Yeah, look at us.
Sad Boy music for sure.
It's very sad music. Oh man, it's not from that album, but yeah, Silver Soul definitely. Yeah, if I've had a bad day, that one's on in the car, buddy. That one's on in the car, and the volume's at 50, and I am zoning out for the entire ride home.
Just sulking your life away.
Feels good sometimes, right? Which is why the Sad Boy City trap is real, because sometimes it feels good to
Oh,
sulk.
man.
But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers not in Sad Boy City, and neither the Indianapolis Colts. We'll discuss why next.
Hey, it's Jen. Discover the unparalleled quality and selection at Mill Street Flooring, your go-to destination for luxury vinyl plank flooring in the Midlands. They're exclusively distributing Case Luxury Flooring, have wear levels from 12 to 28 mils for durability and style. So whether you're a contractor, a builder, an installer, doing a home improvement project, you're going to appreciate their factory direct prices and manufacturer's warranties. Samples are available. Luxury vinyl plank can be found in a wide array of patterns and colors. You can find the perfect flooring instantly. Standard and wider planks available to fit any space, any budget. No order is too big or too small. Visit millstreetflooring.com or call Joe at 803-424-8547 to arrange your appointment at their Lugoff or West Columbia locations. And now, through October 31st, get $107.50 off an order of $1,000 or more. At Mill Street Flooring, there's never a good reason to spend more than you have to. It's just nice. Great fair weather. So if you haven't been to the South Carolina State Fair yet, definitely a good opportunity to go. Sunny and 81 today. The sunshine continues really up until the early part of Sunday. 77 tomorrow, 74 on Friday, 80 with sunshine for our game day. But currently it is 59 on 107.5 The Game.
Hour number 2 of the early game starts right now. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. And Shane Beamer's inspired us because he said you can't be sad boys in that locker room after your 3-3 start. And Preston Thorne and I, during that entire commercial break, were going through the best sad boy music that we could come up with. Because James on the YouTube stream said, I never thought I'd hear the day where I hit Beach House mentioned on this program. Well, sir, you've come to the right show. So if you have any other sad boy song suggestions, we'll take them on the Firehouse Subs text line, 803-404-6100, because now we're compiling lists.
Straight sad boy music.
Straight sad boy music. What's your go-to?
Non-gender specific. Sad boy music is for women too.
Absolutely. Women can be sad boys too.
Yeah,
sad boy is an aura,
Correct.
not a label.
Correct.
Not exactly
It's a
specific
feeling.
label. Yes.
It's a feeling you feel.
And honestly, we should have probably had like Greg Kidden Band, the breakup song. Like we should have started with breakup music on Monday, but then now we have sad boy music.
Yep, that is correct. That is correct, especially after things happen on
yeah,
Monday.
well, yeah.
Things happen on
All
Monday.
across college football.
Well,
There's
you know,
plenty
that's
of
a-
breakup music.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, James Franklin probably playing some sad boy music. What music did James Franklin go and crank up to 10 as he was exiting the facility?
Well, here's the thing: with $50 million
Oh,
he can leave with, it's weird because then it's like sad boy music, like breakup music, but that's more like divorce music, right? Like, I mean, you leave with a chunk of change
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah. After the sad boy
when you
music,
signed a pretty sweet deal.
when the check hits, then it's a different kind of music. Like, it's not too bad.
Yeah. Driving along, like, I kind of feel a little bit of pressure off my chest. I've got a bank account that's about to explode. Yeah,
That's a
good
different
times.
kind of playlist. Then it's like the now I've never been more outside playlist,
Yeah.
right? I've never been more back. Like those are two things, and one goes before the other. So definitely taking suggestions, or at least what your go-to sad boy music is. I told Preston during the break that my sad boy album was Blonde by Frank Ocean. That's like an hour and a half of like you're feeling it, buddy.
Really?
You're in there. Yeah.
Ooh.
In the fields.
It's good, but it's so good. Even on a day that I'm not feeling that sad, I'm like, you know what? I want to make myself feel sad because I want to listen to this album.
Okay. I don't think I ever wanted to go quite that deep. Like I need the happy.
Yeah.
Because I can put myself in the.
You can handle that all by
I
yourself.
can do it all by
and
myself.
life will take care of that for you.
Oh yeah, I can go from one thing where I can bring up something from 3 years ago that was wrong, and yeah.
And immediately,
Oh, yeah. I don't need the music. I need the music to bring me up.
that's right. That's right. Not to bring you back down
I may never come back up.
in wallow. Oh, but we'll be taking that 803-404-6100 on the Firehouse Subs text line. Interesting article from The Athletics. They do this every week. On Wednesdays, we like to tap into a little more NFL stuff. And I was really curious when I saw the headline of NFL Power Rankings. Again, they do this every week. And this is an interesting year in the NFL. It's a league that is rooted in parity. It's built for parity, right? Whether it's just the way they do the draft, whether it's the way the salary cap is, whether it's the way they make the schedule every year, where if you are a last place team, usually most of your out-of-division games will be against other last-place teams, right? It's built for upward mobility. And this year we've seen a lot of example of that. We've seen teams that we thought were going to be the top dogs at the beginning of the year be the top dogs for the first 4 weeks, Bills, Eagles, and then we've seen them both lose games. It's become an interesting dichotomy. And some teams that maybe you didn't expect to be a top 3 or 4 team in the league are playing like top 3 or 4 teams in the league. So I genuinely opened this article, the Week 7 Power Rankings, not knowing exactly who might be number 1. And they have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at number 1. That prompted me to think, do we think they really are the best team in the NFL right now? Because I do tell you right now, if I had to cast a vote for the NFL MVP after the first 6 weeks of the season, I would say it's pretty easily Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, my mother calls him that Baker boy.
That Baker boy is playing some Baker ball
He's balling
right now.
He's balling. And as it hit on my Twitter timeline, 13 years ago was the day when he burst on the scene with that dance in the circle when he was doing the whip and the nay-nay. It's fire.
Very for its time. I mean, you're talking about very time-appropriate dancing.
A time capsule, if you will.
That, yes, Baker Mayfield doing that in a huddle, is a time capsule type thing, right?
No, but he's balling, man. And There's a lot of different ways that I think this is very interesting. Obviously, he's a first overall pick that kind of gets shunned by his rookie, doesn't extend on his rookie contract, almost gets into journeyman status.
Yeah. I mean,
He
based on
does
your rules,
Yeah, he does turn into journeyman.
because I mean, he goes. You just look at the seasons. There were 4 years in Cleveland, and then Panthers, Rams for a combined 1 year, and then Buccaneers. So from 2022 to 2023, so just 1 year difference, he played for 3 different teams.
Yeah, and he's and that Rams stint, he's essentially on his way out the league. After the
yeah.
Panthers, he's on his way. Him and Sam Darnold at the Panthers at the same time. It's really interesting to see what they're doing now. But I think this goes a lot about quarterback development, a lot about sticking with the quarterback, a lot about being in the right system. A lot of these things seem to be happening, and you're seeing the development of quarterbacks take a little bit longer than maybe people initially assumed years ago.
Yeah, it's got to change the way we think about quarterbacks too, because like his resurgence is really good. And early in his career, just like look at the first 2 years of his career. Rookie year, finished second in Rookie of the Year voting, 27 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Like that 27 number, good. Almost those for 4,000 yards, good. Got to work on the 14 interceptions. Well, the next year, he's not necessarily Jameis Winston in the 30-30 club, because we will never see that again. I will proudly proclaim that we will never see 30-30 again. But we saw 2020 with Baker Mayfield with 22 touchdowns and 21 picks, and then that was really bad. And then we kind of saw the decline in his career a little bit. He gets run out of Cleveland. And even last year, which was a 4,500-yard passing season, still led the league in picks with 16. But this year, you have seen more protection of the ball on his part. He's on pace to get about 4,500 yards. He's already at 12 touchdowns. He has thrown one single interception. He is not turning the ball over at all. Baker Mayfield, through 6 games, has only thrown 1 pick.
Wow.
And they've played 6 games, Preston Thorne.
That's fascinating.
You want to guess how many game-winning drives and fourth quarter comebacks he has?
A bunch. I don't, because it seems like it's been happening over and 3 at least.
4 each. 4 fourth quarter comebacks, 4 game-winning drives. The team has asked him to win games late, and he is 4 for 4 when it comes to game-winning drives.
So let me ask you this, as a resident Falcons fan, rise up. Does that mean that this Buccaneers team is good in the clutch, or are they not good and they're getting lucky?
Now, last year I accused the Chiefs of being lucky because they won 11 one-score games.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the best model for sustained success. Now, they have lost other one-score games, because that game against the Eagles, which is their one loss this year, was a 6-point loss. So they are, in one-score games, I believe 4-1. Yes, because they beat San Francisco this week by multiple scores. But 5 of their 6 games have been one-score games. So that will dip. And that's what tells me that maybe the model for success is not as sustainable for them. So I can understand. I was reading The Athletic. I was like, you know what? I'll hear it out. I'll hear you out here. That the Buccaneers may be the best team in the NFL in this moment. And then I was like, looking through numbers, right? Because I'm trying to find, counter arguments. Like, who would I actually say is maybe the best team in the NFL? And I'm looking at a couple of numbers that I really value. And I came to a weird conclusion.
You told me this all. I was like, what?
The best team in football right now is the Indianapolis Colts. Quarterbacked by another one of those late quarterback bloomers in Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones, not Danny Dimes.
Not Danny Dimes. He is Daniel Jones now.
Mm-hmm. Esquire.
We will, Esquire. Full government name will be used here. Because I didn't, when I realized how good they were on offense, it blew my mind. So a couple of stats I really like value when it comes to the health of your offense. Scoring percentage on drives, right? What's the percentage of times you score on your drives? Well, they're first in the league in that. And it's not just because they're first in the league at that impressed me. It's the gap in which they're the first in the league. So the Colts score on 61% of their drives. Number 2 in the National Football League, the Kansas City Chiefs, at 51.8. Whoa. That is almost a 10 percentage point difference between the first place team and the second place team. To show you how crazy that is, we don't see a 10-point percentage drop off until ranking 2 through 14. So the gap between 1 and 2 is the same as it is between 2 and 14. That is the lead that the Colts have in that metric right now. And yes, they've played some bad teams. They've beaten up on some bad teams. They have blowout wins over the Titans and the Raiders. I get that. But
That's not your fault, though.
Not your fault. But these are all NFL teams.
Right.
Nobody, like, there are still games. Like, the Tennessee Titans are bad. Well, guess who almost beat the Rams at home? The Tennessee Titans, right? Any given Sunday, anything can happen. But the Colts have not allowed teams on any given Sunday to beat them. Was the win against the Broncos maybe a little fluky? Some refereeing controversy? Yes, but the Broncos are really good. And I think we've learned the Broncos are really good. But the scoring percentage gap was astonishing to me. In the passing game, number 2 in the league in net yards per attempt, which is just yards per attempt, but also accounting for sacks, right? Second in the league in that. Tied for first in yards per play on offense with the Seattle Seahawks, which another, Sam Darnold, late bloomer. We've had 3 quarterbacks who have been some of the best in the league this year, all late bloomers who are now better later on in their career than they were at the beginning when they played with dysfunctional franchises. There's a real common denominator right there between those 3 guys. Giants, Jets, Browns.
Yes.
You get them out of those hellholes, and now they can develop and learn a little bit. But Daniel Jones is playing well because that's mostly a quarterback stat. And then it helps, too, that Jonathan Taylor is the league-leading rusher right now, and he's playing about as well as he has all year. The offensive line's getting a lot better at run blocking. Jonathan Taylor's running all over the place. This offense seems to be maybe the most complete in the NFL right now, and doing so with a rookie tight end being the leading receiver. Tyler Warren has been incredible this year, leading them in receiving yards, and he's a really good weapon for the type of quarterback Daniel Jones is. They're not going to win the Super Bowl. Still feel good about that because the defense it's not bad. It's okay. It's good enough to where I think they're going to win that division. But they probably have the best offense in the NFL after 6 games or 6 weeks of the NFL season. And that's something that I did not anticipate at all going into the year.
Vibes are high in Indianapolis, right? You have a unexpected good team, great mascot.
Blue.
Oh,
My boy Blue.
I've been telling you why. I was watching yesterday, going through a couple of posts that I missed. It's just stupid funny that just tears in my eyes laughing. Like, I just.
Listen, man. Unexpected fun team. Unexpected good team. Not very fun, but good.
But good. Yeah,
Yes.
it's not
And
sexy.
Fun
It's
mascot. Matter of fact, the headline in the Athletic says Daniel Jones might be the most vanilla quarterback in the NFL, and it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he doesn't need to be anything extra. He doesn't need to be Lamar. He doesn't need to be Josh. He doesn't need to be Patrick. He doesn't need to be any of those guys. He's just, and we say it as a bad thing, but he's the game manager that they need, and he's playing perfect to his skill set of what he's doing really well right now.
And he's not having a ridiculous amount of turnovers. Like, that's the thing. Like, he's not turning it over a ton. Now, he's got a couple interceptions this year, but it's not to the degree it was, in New York at times. He's not crazy inaccurate. He completes a high percentage of his passes. It's genuinely been like one of the more fascinating turnarounds in the NFL this season with what Daniel Jones has done. Again, this guy's completing, I think, wanted to double check. Yeah, 71, almost 72% of his passes this year. It's been really impressive.
Yeah.
It's been,
I'm excited for him because,
too.
I love Indianapolis, kind of grew up with family in Indianapolis and went to school there. So I've just always, that's kind of been like, I'm a Bears fan, but then I just always kind of keep an eye on the Colts because I just, kind of like them.
Mm-hmm.
And in keeping up
So
with
it's
them
fun to
this year,
watch.
I was like, okay, they're good. It's a really good start, but they're probably still, middle of the road team once things start evening out. And then I looked last night when I'm really kind of diving through
That's
this and trying to come to some conclusions, and I'm like, oh, buddy, I didn't expect to see this. And it kind of rocked my world a little bit.
Actually, an underrated time to be an Indianapolis fan, right?
Yeah.
The Pacers with the unexpected
Yes.
Yeah,
run.
the Fever.
Fever had an unexpected run. The Colts kind of making a run here. It's a good time to be a fan if you're
Yep.
if you're an Indianapolis person.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not many years can
Pressing in for our folks at Integrated Media. The football season is moving along very quickly. Fall is here. You need to get your outdoor setup ready so you can enjoy some of this beautiful weather that we're about to have. What does your outdoor setup look like? It's up to you. You can get Samsung Terrace TV. You can get Samsung Terrace TVs that are waterproof. Sonos outdoor speakers that play TV and music. So if you want to play your sad boy playlist while you're sitting outside in the rain, you can do that with the folks from Integrated Media. Or my personal favorite, you can control all your devices from just one remote. So from home theater setup to adjusting your thermostat, maybe it's monitoring your security system from your cell phone, Integrated Media is the company that you need to call. So call Nathan and Michael at 803-948-8327. That's 803-948-8327. Or you can reach them online at integratedmediainc.com. That's online at integratedmediainc.com.
It's gotten a little bit busier this morning. Piney Grove, say it again, one more time. Piney Woods Road at Piney Grove Road, there is an accident. Also, Lakes Lane near Riverwalk Way. I-77 southbound at 12th Street, the exit ramp has an accident there, so just be cautious. I-20 eastbound at Broad River Road, exit 65, and I-26 westbound, the left lane is blocked right there at exit 115 Charleston Highway. 81 for the high today. Going to see sunny conditions through Saturday. Loving that. Great fair weather. By game day, going to be 80 and sunny. It's 59 currently.
It's time for the morning meeting, where we're going to break down where the Gamecocks women's basketball team is in the preseason AP Top 25. Hear from Don Staley and Lamont Paris from SEC Media Days, and continue to share some of the really good submissions to Sad Boy songs that we have gotten on the Firehouse Subs text line and the YouTube stream. But first, not so sad boy music.
Good morning. Repeat after me. Today will be an awesome day.
Yeah, well,
Let's go. Good morning, great today. Today will be an awesome day. Good morning, great today. Today will be an awesome day.
all right, I got to start. Got to start here with the sad boy music, because we asked for submissions. We've gotten some really good ones.
Great job.
Corbin on the text line says a diverse group representing a few genres. Bad Day by Daniel Crowder. Oh, reminds me of being in the 6th grade all over again. Say It Ain't So by Weezer. Drive by Incubus. Empty Out Your Pockets by Juice WRLD.
Yes.
Sweater Weather, The Neighborhood. And Jocelyn Flores, XXX Tentacion.
I'm taking notes. I do know XXX Tentacion and Juice WRLD. Nope, neither one of them no longer with us. Very efficient in sad boy music.
Yes, that was their genre.
Yes.
That was the bit. Brett says Johnny Cash, Hurt, but then adds, but sung by Leslie Chow from Hangover. He says anything by Billie Eilish.
Very solid. Billie Eilish, somebody who I was very dismissive of, just like, what's going on there?
It's one of those, yeah.
And then I was like, oh, there's something going on here.
It's one of those you try it and you're like, oh, this is really good.
Yeah, she has one song that was like, I didn't change my number. I was like, ooh. Okay.
That goes pretty hard. I like that. I like that a lot. And then, of course, Josh from Conway says All My Life by Casey and JoJo. Sad boy music. Even though the subject matter isn't sad boy music, it sounds like
I imagine that's after events have happened when you're playing that, when that song comes on and maybe reminding you of something or something.
Very circumstantial
Yes.
type stuff. Very circumstantial. But what's not circumstantial, because this is becoming a thing every year, the South Carolina women's basketball team ranked high to start the year in the AP poll, and to start 2025-2026, they will debut at number 2. UConn, the defending national champions, will start at number 1. Paige Beckers ain't walking through that door, but Sarah Strong is. AZ Fudd is. And another loaded recruiting class will be. We may be on another collision course to see exactly what we saw in Tampa, but maybe with a different result. That's what the AP poll voters are expecting.
So UConn 1, South Carolina 2. Do we have the rest?
I do. UCLA 3, Texas 4. So the 4 Final Four teams that we saw in Tampa. LSU 5, Oklahoma 6, Duke 7, Tennessee 8, North Carolina State 9, and Maryland 10 to round out the top 10. And then the rest are North Carolina, Ole Miss, Michigan, Iowa State, Notre Dame, Baylor, TCU, Southern Cal, Vanderbilt, Louisville, Iowa, Oklahoma State, Michigan State, Kentucky, and shout out the Spiders of Richmond, debuting at number 25.
Sneaking in. That's interesting. Can you do this for me one more time? Can you give me the top 5? I just want to do a mental exercise really quickly.
Number 1, Connecticut. Number 2, South Carolina. Number 3, UCLA. Number 4, Texas. Number 5, LSU.
Yeah. So the mental exercise I was trying to do is, with those top 5 teams, could I name a player on each one of those teams, or the star player?
Yes.
And I could for each 5. And I think the one intriguing thing is, I think if we did the same thing with the men's, I'm not sure if I could do that.
Ooh, that's really good. You know what? Let's see. I'm going to pull that up, and we're going to read it off and see
I'm
if
pretty.
you can do it.
I'm fairly confident. I don't know if I don't think I'll be able to do it.
For the men, number 1, Purdue.
No. Is the center still there? My guy, Zach Edey.
Yeah, Zach Edey.
Yeah, Zach Edey's not still there, right?
He is with the Memphis Grizzlies.
Nope, can't do it. Okay.
Number 2, Houston.
I know Kelvin Sampson's still the coach.
They do have 3 returning starters from last year's team.
A good team last year who had plenty of national exposure, and I still kind of like,
The star power not there for you. Number 3, Florida.
national champions. I got the coach's story, good, both good and bad. But
In that Florida team, two returning starters, one reserve who will be inserted into the starting lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, Connecticut. I will tell you, their starting point guard this year, Gamecock killer, Silas Demery from Georgia.
Okay.
If you remember the name Silas Demery, because he's come to CLA the last 2 years and has beaten South Carolina, he will now he has taken his Gamecock killingness away from the SEC. So that's good. And number 5, St. John's.
Now, I guess what I could do for the men's is going back to maybe being more coach centered. I could definitely name all the coaches, and they all have stories that are very interesting. Each one of those dudes was characters. You could probably take or leave each one of them as far as being personality wise, and that's cool and that's personality driven. But it was just occurring to me as you was naming off the women's top 5 is that I knew players on the team. I knew the foundations of those teams. I think that's obviously a feather in the cap for women's basketball. But I do think that just for me, that was an interesting exercise.
I said, it might have been yesterday when I said, the transfer portal is more rampant in college basketball than it is college football. It's more impactful in terms of just what your team looks like year to year. For St. John's, 4 of the projected starters were not there last year. For Connecticut, 2 of the projected starters not there last year. For Florida, 2 of the projected starters not there last year. For Houston, 2 of the projected starters not there last year. And for Purdue, all of their players were there last year because Purdue's kind of the last of the Mohicans when it comes to building a program really organically.
Mm-hmm.
But it's dramatically different in college basketball. Where, in college football, some of your best teams will get 1 or 2 really good impact transfers that are in the top 5 of the AP poll, but a lot of it is recruiting high school really well and still bringing up a lot of those guys. Maybe your quarterback's different, but maybe everything else is kind of developed in-house. In college basketball, completely different.
Yeah, and there was a fascinating article that I was looking at with Coach Staley when she was talking about just how her recruiting practices have changed with NIL and rev share and different things. And she was essentially saying that things have changed on the front end of recruiting, but because this team prepares players to go to the pros, sometimes they come back around after they've spent a couple years in another program, and when they want to become pros, she starts to hear from them after maybe that number was too high at the beginning, but now all of a sudden you want to go pro. Maybe this is when you want to get developed. So it was just interesting hearing her adaptation of into the new world.
And for programs like Dawn and South Carolina that are perennial national title contenders, it's a pretty frequent story with what they have to deal with when it comes to building a roster for the next season. That's the early game morning meeting. But coming up next, it's time to give out awards, Dennis Green Awards, because we're going to tell you who exactly are who we thought they were. And that's next. Oh, it's coming up. Time to start hosting some people. And I am very paranoid about what my friends might think of my home. And sometimes the focus is the carpets. And sometimes it's the hardest for me to be able to clean effectively. And that's why I lean on my friends at Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. And they don't just clean carpets. Zerorez removes dirt from the living spaces where me, my loved ones, spend the most of our time. And unlike traditional cleaners, the Zero Water technology from Zerorez leaves my surfaces dry in hours, not days. And that is a big help for me. No soap, no residue, just soft, fluffy carpets that stay clean longer. And if you just mentioned my name, Elijah Campbell at 107.5 The Game, then you can get yourself a deal this month. That's getting 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for only $119. Now is the time to take care of those mystery stains and the weird, gummy, and matted down parts in your carpet to be able to host people. Now's the time to let Zerorez help you. So book online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
you're traveling along on I-26 westbound, just after Charleston Highway, you'll find that the left lane is blocked, so do plan to get right. Clemson Road and Longtown Road, an accident. Also, I-20 eastbound at Broad River Road. I-20 westbound at Highway 378. Likes Lane near Riverwalk Way in Irmo, and Piney Woods Road at Piney Grove Road. So a few things to be mindful of this morning, but I'll tell you what, we're going to enjoy the forecast for several days, sunny through Saturday. High today, 81, go into the mid-70s for a couple days. Saturday, it'll be 80 and sunny. So beautiful game day and tailgate weather, and also great South Carolina State Fair weather. Currently 59 on the early game.
The Bears are what we thought they were. They're what we thought they were. We played them in preseason. Who the hell takes a third game in the preseason like it's bull? We played them in the third game. Everybody played 3 quarters. The Bears are who we thought they were. And that's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were.
Let them off the hook. And we're not letting them off the hook this week because it's time for They Are Who We Thought They Were, and I've got candidates.
You have candidates?
I've got candidates for my Denny Green Award for this week. I want to lead off with Auburn.
Ooh.
I have been on – so my evaluation of Auburn all offseason was this is a really good roster. You're great at the running back position. You're really good at wide receiver. You may be having the best wide receiver 1-2 punch in terms of just skill and athleticism in the SEC with Eric Singleton and Cam Coleman. You have a couple of really good offensive linemen. Kendrick Falk might be one of, the top 5 or 6, I guess, based on mock drafts I've seen. Defensive linemen, interior defensive linemen taken in the draft. They're good at every position. But you know why I didn't vote Auburn really high? Because they're not good at the quarterback position. Because I'm not a believer in Jackson Arnold. And against Georgia, 19 of 31 for 137 yards. But he was their leading rusher. But the passing game, like the wide receivers are good. The pass catching unit is as good as it gets in the Southeastern Conference. But somebody's got to get them the ball. And I knew that would be the thing that keeps them from doing it. And I'm not a believer in Hugh Freeze as a quarterback developer.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, I look at the track record. After beating Alabama, how much better did Bo Wallace and Chad Kelly get?
Swag Kelly.
Swag Kelly, yes, sorry, wrong government name for him. Swag Kelly and Bo Wallace did not get any better.
Not much swag. After
that was the peak, right?
Correct.
And Jackson Arnold has not gotten a lick better at Auburn. And the quarterback is keeping them from being good. Now they are 3-3, and they are 0-3 in the Southeastern Conference after a 2010 loss at home to Georgia.
Yeah, that's a specific reason why Oklahoma was like, we're good.
Yeah, we're good here.
We appreciate it. It's been real.
We'll go to the portal and get this guy.
Yeah, let's go get the fun guy. I'm gonna stay on the path with quarterbacks because we just saw him this Saturday. Garrett Sussmeyer, come on down.
Oh, Denny Green Award.
You are exactly who we thought you were, for good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
Because during that game, as you tweeted, we saw the whole Garrett Nussmeier experience. He made some incredible throws, off-balance throws, sidearm throws, and he made some incredibly stupid throws, bad throws, into coverage throws, overthrows, all the while acting as if he was on death's doorstep for the whole entire game, whether it was the ankle, the ab, or whatever the case was. This guy is exactly who we thought he was. And I'm not even saying that's a bad thing, but he is who we thought he was.
And that's the whole point of the game. And that's exactly what it was. A quintessential. It's like there's one drive that was quintessential Garrett Nussmeier. You can put that on Garrett Nussmeier's greatest hits album, whenever it's all said and done. Was the drive where he makes that incredible throw on the sideline over 2 South Carolina defenders and just drops it in a bucket. I like kind of sat back in my chair and I was like, oh my God. I switched over to the YouTube TV feed on my computer so I could watch that throw again because I was like, how did he drop that in there? And not 2 or 3 plays later is where he overthrows a receiver by a mile and hits DQ Smith right in the number. Hits him right on that number 1. DQ Smith could have fair caught that interception if he really wanted to. That was the ultimate Garrett Nussmeier experience. I want to keep it with quarterbacks, but I want to take it to the NFL.
Ooh.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Oh,
You are every bit who we thought you were coming into the season.
Good pick.
And that is maybe not the greatest leader and definitely not the quarterback who, when your number 1 receiver goes down, can elevate a team. Yes, they scored 27 points, and the reason they lost, they gave up a touchdown late, gave up a score late, and lost to the Chargers. They're 1-5, and after the game, he goes to the podium and starts throwing some folks under the bus. And I guarantee you that didn't go over very well.
It didn't.
Because Mike McDaniel said so, that they'd like to keep that in-house. So Tua Tagovailoa, in your tenure as a Miami Dolphin, well, in 2025, you were exactly who we thought you
Yeah,
were.
we just got to take the microphone from him because every time he gets behind the mic, he says something where you leave like, what? Like, what's going on with that? And I don't know. It seems like there's been a transformation in Tua from the guy that we met with Alabama to who he is now. It seems like there's been like, I can't quite put my finger on it.
I can't.
I have some suspicions.
Your suspicions are my suspicions, but also I'll throw in sometimes when that type of adversity hits, it reveals maybe who you are. Maybe Tua's a little bit of a front runner. He's really good when things go really well. And he can make himself look like a leader when things go really well. And at Alabama, you live a charmed existence.
Yeah, and it's also very, very not difficult to be a leader underneath the leader,
Right.
Saban, right?
Yeah, easier to
We
be
don't
a
need
leader
you
in
to.
that
We don't need you
environment.
to be a leader in that. Yeah, I don't like that. If I was a Dolphin fan, I would not be happy about any of that situation going on. Well, since we're here, then this wasn't planned, but I'll stay with quarterbacks. Justin Fields, come on down.
Oh,
You are exactly who we thought you were, Jen. You might have some feels about this. You can run the ball. You're sufficient as a passer, but you are not a winner. And I hear you. I know you won a national championship. I don't care. You're not a winner. You're not proven. And the reason why this goes all the way back, I believe the year was 2017 when Georgia came to South Carolina. Justin Fields is on the Georgia roster. He does not play. And you may remember this. Hot mic moment. One of his teammates is walking him by him, and he's like, oh, man, that was a great game. And you hear Justin saying, yeah, for y'all, I didn't do blank. And I was like, oh.
that's
That's
who we're working
That's
with.
who you are.
Mhm.
And he's been that person throughout his whole time. It's just, I don't know if it's like facial expressions or Jen,
Yeah.
you've had the experience.
I was hopeful for him
Mhm.
because I thought, well, maybe they'll develop him, and I don't think at that point we were developing quarterbacks very well.
That's true.
But yeah, he's just not. He's kind of vanilla, and I just think, I think he's one of those. He'll smile to your face, but he'll cut you.
I think that's
Right.
kind of what I
You.
got. I would not trust him as the leader
No.
of my
Nope.
my unit. I mean, he's a fair quarterback, it's fine and all, but again, the Jets are as bad as they've ever been, and it feels apropos.
Last one for me, and I had a team here, but I want to go with the quarterback I had here as well, Drake May, because I saw it in person.
Ooh, positive.
I witnessed. Yep, I witnessed it. He's the truth.
Okay.
He's good. Yes, the Saints' pass defense is really bad, but that if you go back, just go back and look at the highlights. That first touchdown pass he threw, I'm sitting in the corner of the end zone, so I kind of have like this all 22 angle, which is why I buy those tickets. I love having that view. That's one of the best throws I've ever seen in person. He put incredible zip on it. He threw an absolute bomb, hit the receiver right on the money. Like a 60-something yard touchdown pass thing, traveled at least 45 yards in the air, 50 yards in the air maybe. And it's just one of those plays where jaw-dropping when you see it in person. And that was when I knew Saints defense in for a long day.
2023 season opener. Drake May versus Spencer Rattler.
Oh,
NFL matchup. Think about that. How
That's
that
right.
was, right? Spencer Rattler's doing pretty good too.
And Spencer had a really good game. He would have thrown a game-tying touchdown pass if Chris Olave didn't let that bounce off his hands. Oh, I'm still mad about that.
That might be a good candidate for the next segment.
It is, because in the next segment, we're putting folks on the line, and I'm putting somebody on the line in that game, but it's not Chris Olave. We'll tell you who we're putting on the line this week next. We talked a lot about sad boy music, and if taxes are weighing you down and you have some tax issues, whether it be personal income tax issues or business tax issues, you might be playing some killer sad boy music playlists. But John Ecton and his team at the Ecton Law Firm are here to help you out, to maybe have your sad boy playlist be just for more normal things, right? For things that are not as crucial as tax issues, because the IRS maze gets a lot of people, and sometimes it can feel inescapable. However, John Ecton and his team can offer you up a free consultation to be able to attack those issues at the root and be able to get the results you need to take another step towards a worry-free life. Schedule that consultation today, 803-771-9800. Let John Ecton and his team at the Ecton Law Firm go to work for you. 803-771-9800 or ectonlawfirm.com. That's ECTONlawfirm.com.
Man, hey, let's just go and get on the line right now, man.
My patience is running thin. You're all running out of time. You was late to my practice, sir? Everybody on the line.
Man.
Yeah, being late to practice will get you on the line
1,000%.
every single time. Texter on the Firehouse Subs text line says, the SEC for not explaining the refs' actions.
Get on the line.
Because there's a lot of controversy in the SEC in officiating this year on multiple occasions. Ironically enough, Auburn has been on the receiving end of a couple of those this year against Oklahoma and against Georgia. And, you know, they don't necessarily get a lot of public explanations. They will explain them to the coaches, and then the coaches have to relay those publicly. But if you like to be a good messenger, the best way to relay a message is to do it directly to the public and not put the control of the message in the hands of a coach who might have a different interest, who does have a different set of interests than what you do as a league.
Yeah, and this is a part of a whole bigger conversation about how we treat officials. But it's time for the SEC to grow up and treat officiating as important as it is, and that would mean paying them, that would mean training them, that would mean making them full-time employees, because this is a big enterprise. We can't run this thing like a mom-and-pop shop. That being said, Kirby, come here. Kirby, come here. You got away with it. But the eye in the sky don't lie. We know that you were calling a timeout, sir. You weren't clapping. This is clapping. This is timeout. Those are two different things.
Completely different
So
things.
Kirby Smart, get on the line.
Oh, that's a good one.
SEC Shorts even made fun of him on that one.
Did
Yeah.
they really? Yeah. Timeout.
Yeah.
I was clapping. Come on, Kirby. You got away with it. Now you can't get past it. Can't get it past us.
So I'll start with the low-hanging fruit, which is just South Carolina. Anybody who committed a penalty in that game that was like an operational or procedural penalty, like a false start, illegal snap on the center, come on, man. And you know what? We'll throw Rodney Newsom in there too.
That's correct.
He did not get the illegal snap penalty, but he did apparently mix up the snap the snap count on the first play of the game. So anybody who committed a procedural penalty on Saturday, get
on the line. And Boaz, you and Rodney run together.
That's
'Cause y'all are the sinners. You keep doing this.
It's game 6.
Wheelbarrow. You ever did that? Do wheelbarrow?
God.
Rodney and Boaz. Wheelbarrow.
That's
over
a
here.
tough wheelbarrow. Those are big boys.
That's true.
They're big fellas.
Hey, listen, we're in accountability these days. But we're not going to let it slide. We're not going to leave past the orange because Lenoris, come here.
Oh.
Lenoris, come here. You are our best player. You are our only hope. Without you, we will not win a game for the rest of the year. That being said, we cannot keep having these intentional grounding penalties. We have to stop that. I know you're running for your life. I know there's 10 dudes that are in front of your face. I get it. I understand it all. That being said, 2 intentional grounding penalties, can't have it, can't do it. Lenoris Sellers, get on the line.
Intentional groundings are sacks. I'm starting the movement right now. You almost should consider them sacks, even if they are not officially counted as sacks in the stat book. Going to the NFL, New Orleans Saints coach Kellen Moore gave me the coaching ick on Sunday.
Ooh.
Nothing gives me the coaching ick more than a cowardly punt. They're down 6 points. Down 6 points. This drive starts with 5:51 left. They get one first down, a string of incompletions, and now they have 4th down with 3:55 left on their own 38. Your defense hasn't been able to stop anything. Drake May has been torching you all afternoon. You punt right now, there is no guarantee you get the ball back. Your defense has shown you nothing in terms of being able to get a stop in this game. And what does he do with 3:55 left? He punts. And all it took were 2 plays for the Patriots to get a first down and be able to milk the clock for the rest of the game. That is cowardly punting. When you're under 4 minutes left in a one-score game, there is no guarantee that when you punt, you are getting the ball back. This might be your last chance. Have your fate in your hands. Do not give the ball back to that quarterback and let him get a first down. It was too easy. So Kellen Moore for cowardly punting.
Get on the line. Hey, Marquell, we're still getting coached. Marquell Blackwell, come here. Real quick. Marquell Blackwell, He busted a 72-yard run. He didn't see the ball again until 2 quarters later. Marquel Backwell, get on the line.
Oh, that's such a release. Putting a lot of people on the line. 803-446-2100. Who are you putting on the line? Hour number 3 starts next.
I-20 eastbound at Broad River Road, the left lane is blocked. And on I-26 westbound before Airport Boulevard, the left lane also blocked. Cox Ferry Road near Fox Branch, an accident there. Clemson Road and Longtown Road. I-20 westbound at Highway 378. Piney Woods Road at Piney Grove Road. And one more accident to make you aware of, and that's Pisgah Church Road at Highway 1. Beautiful forecast on the way. It's a great week to be attending the South Carolina State Fair. Sunny and 81, 77 tomorrow, 74 on Friday. But I'll tell you what, Thursday night into Friday, that overnight low, it's going to be a bit on the chilly side, starting off Friday morning at about 48 degrees. So keep an eye on that for jacket weather. The game day should be sunny and 80. Right now, 58.
Hour number 3 of the early game starts right now. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. We're sitting in Studio 803 because it's the early game, third and long hour. Again, if you missed it yesterday, we are starting off our third hour of every show live in the new video podcasting studio known as Studio 803 around these parts. A nice, you know what? The one thing I really like about this is that I get to sit in this couch.
Yeah, it is. It is a different posture than the studio chairs that we have in there. So it is a little bit softer, a little bit more comfortable.
I do like the studio chairs. However, I get a little too comfy here.
Yeah.
You might see me doze off.
We
These are
definitely
really
couldn't be in these chairs in the 6 o'clock hour because it would not work.
I'll be sitting, like doing the lean, like head lean back, mouth wide open sleep where you wake up
Not sleep.
and your mouth is all dry.
Just resting my eyes.
Afterwards, yeah, I'm not asleep. I'm just resting my eyes. Yes, me after every Thanksgiving meal. No, I'm not asleep. I'm good, and then I start snoring.
Yeah.
Because then I start snoring, and then the jig is up there. But here in this hour, we're continuing our discussion on the offensive line coach change because Shane Beamer talked about that at length yesterday. But we're also still continuing to put people on the line, and you all have delivered.
Great job. As
803-404-6100, the Firehouse Subs text line. Rooster P says, "Good morning. I'm putting Kirby Smart on the line for trying to pass off a timeout signal for a hand clap. So Kirby Smart, get on the line." Yeah. Don't insult my intelligence, Kirby.
Though I have seen the internet doing some great things with that. I saw somebody saying that Kirby was at church doing this, clapping to the music.
Clapping. Putting his hands together like this and his clapping.
It was very good. Again, the internet can be good if we make it good.
Has Kirby Smart really gotten to that level where he is just like now master official manipulator?
Very possibly.
I think that might be our proof of concept that he is.
Very possibly.
Because that was pretty brutal. Sammy on the Firehouse Subs text line says, CJ Spiller for not getting Keith Adams Jr. more touches. The Termites boy looked like a legit running back in his mop-up carry Saturday night. So Coach Spiller, get on the line.
Hey, listen, we're not the only team that's complaining about running backs getting carries. So
No.
Sometimes these things spread around. That's good to hear.
I love good rivalry banter. And we have a guy on the text line, the Firehouse Subs text line, who goes by Miami Guy. So I think I know where his loyalties lie here. And he says, fraudulent FS who needs to get on the line. Dude, it's been bad. That for a team that started off with maybe the most impressive win in the opening week to start the season, buddy.
Maybe.
Ooh,
Maybe.
Jen,
Very
yes.
strong candidate. Mike Norvell might be a candidate.
I agree. Definitely they are who we thought they were because I liked Florida State coming into the year. I liked some of the pieces they had. I'm like, they're not going to go 2-10 again, but this seems like a good 7-5, 8-4 team, something like that. And they beat Alabama, and I'm like, okay, maybe you were not who I thought you were. Maybe you were a little better. Well, they haven't followed it up. Yes, they, beat the crap out of Kent State and East Texas A&M Commerce or whoever it was, and then they play Virginia on the road. They lose that game, which I expected because Virginia is really good. It's a Friday night game on the road. Things can get a little weird. They drop that game, whatever. And, of course, I expected them to drop the Miami game because Miami's really good. But, buddy, you lost to Pitt. Mm-hmm. Pitt's not bad, but you're not a good team when you change your quarterback halfway through the year. You're not a good team when you lose to West Virginia, who in a league in the Big 12 where everybody is pretty good, West Virginia is not included.
They're in the bottom of the pretty good.
Yeah, they're on the bottom there, and they lost that game. Not a loss that you can say is a quality loss. So now Florida State 0-3 in the ACC, and I did see a tweet yesterday. Now that Mike Norvell has turned 44, he has not won an ACC game since he was 42.
Ooh, that's difficult because obviously people are claim that the ACC is not the toughest conference. Feels like you should get something.
They're on a pretty tough streak right now. A pretty tough streak. And I want to say that against Cal might have been the last one. So it's not looking great for him so far. And of course, we're still continuing to take your sad boy music on the Firehouse Subs text line. Rodney says, "Somebody that I used to know" by Goat Ye.
Good song.
Can you name another Goat Ye song? Cannot. But if you're going to be a one-hit wonder,
Yes, that's a solid one.
it better be a good one. Tony says, "Nobody knows it but me, Babyface." Not familiar.
Yeah, yes. And I'm dying inside, and nobody knows it but me.
Oh, yeah. Lyrically fitting the bill. Yes. Lyrically fitting exactly what we're looking for here.
You might be the winner for today. For
You know
sure.
what, Tony? Okay.
Tony, you
Yeah.
might be the winner.
'Cause-
Because I'm just thinking of Shane dropping home and dying inside, and nobody knows it but me.
This would be a good recommendation there. Oh, that's good stuff. But we've talked a lot about today about the South Carolina team, 3-3 going into a game against Oklahoma. And Shane Beamer said the reason we even got on the Sad Boy Music playlist topic is because he said we can't sit around and be sad boys, right? Like that's how like you turn seasons around because you don't sulk. And sometimes part of not sulking is taking action and cutting ties when you feel like you need to. And they cut ties with Lonnie Teasley, the offensive line coach. Sean Elliott is in there now. And the main question that I had for today, our essential question for today's show, was really how much can we expect things to change from one week to the next? How much can we really expect this offensive line to get better in a week when there has been some dramatic change in terms of who is coaching them and facing a defense in Oklahoma, which as good as LSU's defense is and has been and was Saturday night, this Oklahoma defense is better by almost every metric. Now, obviously not a lot because LSU's a top 10 defense, but they are better as a matter of fact when you look at the numbers. So, Preston, that leads me to this. How much can you realistically expect changes on the offensive line to take place against a defense like Oklahoma that does nothing but wreak havoc on anybody?
Yeah, and this is the thing. Playing against Oklahoma any week would be difficult because of the nature of the Brent Venables defense, because it's stunts and blitzes, and they're coming from odd angles, and they're doing all types of unconventional things. So they're difficult to prepare for anyway. They're a defense that'll make you very frustrated if you're an offensive line trying to block them normally. That being said, I think the expectation should be set for procedural penalties. You can set that at 0 and see where we go from there, but you want to have a market improvement on that, and then we'll figure everything else out after that.
I mean, that's really, if you really get like a starting point, right? I'm not expecting you to limit negative plays against this Oklahoma defense. If you do, then you have completely changed overnight. It'd be extreme makeover offensive line edition, right? Like that's the type of improvement we would see. Like it'd be like Ty Pennington walking out on the field and saying, "All right, Gamecock Nation, move that bus," and it's a Joe Moore Award-winning offensive line right there.
Shane starts crying.
Oh my God! Oh man,
I can't believe it.
that's what I've always wanted. We didn't give up a sack. Or Mason Thomas didn't get in the backfield once. We ran for 300 yards.
That's awesome.
I'm not expecting that
Right.
at all on Saturday.
But you got me all excited about it because that actually sounds
That
fabulous.
sounds great.
I mean, that does sound pretty good. I mean, that's really what
Move
Sam,
that cockaboose.
move that cockamoose. Maybe that's what Sam Pittman should do now is instead of maybe being somebody's offensive line coach, he goes from program to program and is fixing offensive line problems.
You know, there's a market for that.
Trademark that one.
Yeah.
Let's cut this from the tape and remove it
And-
like it never happened.
You know, I've had Sam Pittman on a show before. I know a way to reach him in terms of, hey, buddy, I got an idea for you.
I'd watch it.
If you're not getting into the coaching game, a different type of coaching game can be in play.
I like it.
I think we could be onto something.
I watch it.
But I think what Sam Pittman would say when he walks into the room and he's starting to, do this extreme makeover, he would say, look, the procedural penalties are where we stop because that's the most controllable thing, right? Sometimes as an offensive line, you can get bullied. In the SEC, that will happen. Even good offensive lines have been bullied in the Southeastern Conference, right? Georgia, who last year I thought was coming into the year as the best offensive line in America, got bullied frequently by other defenses, and they still end up being a good offensive line, just maybe a little overrated. But that's life in this conference. That's life at the highest level of Division I, Power 4 football. That's just the reality. But the things that you can control are not shooting yourselves in the foot. And when you have that many procedural penalties, you kill drives automatically. And then pair that with maybe an intentional grounding. And that's how you get 1st and 10 on LSU's 26. And then it's 2nd and 18 or 19 near midfield. That's how that type of stuff happens. And you can't have any of that, not a limited number of it. You can't have any of that when we play this game on Saturday.
Yeah, you have to take it down to 0, and anything above 0, we'll see what happens with that. But I very much believe that there's going to have to be some instant accountability for when and if those things happen. And I know Sean is not opposed to it. We talked about it earlier, but if they make a mistake, they have to pay immediately. I don't know whether that means, you take them out for a play, run them off. If you jump off sides, I've seen coaches do that before. And this is not new technology. This is not new coaching techniques. You make a mistake, you come off the field. You might go back, but you're going to have to at least know that this is unacceptable to what we are trying to do as a unit.
No, I was just going to say, like we talked about earlier, rub their nose in it, like the puppy analogy. They make a mess, you can't punish them later. So, yeah, we're going to just see a bunch of guys down on the ground with their nose being rubbed in the turf.
Listen, man, it's tried and true technique. You watch any of those shows, hey, man, you have to punish the puppy right now, or else they don't have any idea what they did.
Yep.
I don't know why are you punishing me? That was 20 minutes ago.
And aside from just coaching resume, because we've seen Sean Elliott as the offensive line coach here, he's been a successful offensive line coach. He's got the personality and the coaching style that is maybe more fitting for that type of coaching, right?
Getting their attention.
Yes.
He's really good at getting their attention.
As I said, they will sit up straighter in the meeting room. I guarantee that.
And even just like in general, right? If there is a coaching change like that in the middle of the season, that probably does put some players on alert, right? Because they're not getting fired because they were showing up late or showing up not ready to do the job or anything like that. It's a results-based business. And you, the student, if you're not passing the tests, the teacher will get moved, right, to stick with the school analogy. So that naturally make them sit up in their seats a little straighter in meetings, because now things are real. Like the consequences of failing the test have become real to other people. And there's that element, but then having Sean Elliott just being the type of teacher he is, is the right probably change of pace when it comes to being the delivery of a message.
Great phrase right there, because usually how it has to happen, and it can go the other way, because you may have somebody who's a Sean Elliott type in the room initially and it's not working then, and then you need to bring somebody else in that has a different form of delivery, as Shane kept stating, and I think it was the right phrase. Sometimes just a different voice in the room. To go back to the extreme makeover analogy. New painted coat, a new coat of paint, right? You just need to just paint it over, and now all of a sudden it looks all brand new. It's the same house, same walls, but you need to freshen it up a little bit, and that's what Sean is coming in to do.
I was just saying, if this doesn't work, then we might have to knock out a couple walls. Might have to do
Right.
things. At least let's start with the fresh coat of paint.
Start here, and then we move forward.
Yes, start with some fundamental things, and then be like, okay, now we'll move on to maybe, like Jen said. Bigger demolition, knocking out walls. Then you get to grab the sledgehammer, and then there's, that actually, in terms of home renovation, that is the most fun part of it. I've never realized how much fun it is, how much of a good anger release it is. Whenever you do that, you need to be angry when you do it, because it is a good release of maybe some bad energy, and that's what we're hoping this offensive line gets to release going into this game against Oklahoma. We'll discuss that, as well as the theme wasn't just for the theme of the press conference yesterday. It's going to be the theme for the rest of the year. You can't be sad boys. Yes, 6 games in the year. The season's not where you're at. Shane Beamer has had some really good turnarounds midseason, like in 2022 and 2024. How does this team turn things around, and how do you avoid having a locker room be full of sad boys? That is coming up next here on the early game. roof. And that's what Midstate Roofing is here for, because we say all the time, if you have a leak, you should let Midstate Roofing take a peek, because look, nothing can make issues happen in your house faster than a lack of quality waterproofing. And for nearly 30 years, Midstate Roofing has kind of been that leader in the roofing and waterproofing business, and making sure that you're getting the proper advice, the service, and most importantly, the results to the very specific needs of your facility in manners both safe and pleasing to that operation. One thing I like about Midstate Roofing too is sometimes the issues with your home can be a result of an urgent need. And for some companies, you call and you're not getting that help immediately, well, you can call Midstate Roofing after hours with that assistance. 803-356-1919, or always online at midstateroofing.com.
Hawkesbury Road near Fox Branch, still working that earlier slowdown. Also, I-20 eastbound at I-26, the left lane is blocked, so be mindful there. Clemson Road and Longtown Road, an accident. I-20 westbound at Highway 378, Pisgah Church Road at Highway 1. One more to make you aware of, and that's Old Barnwell Road near Old Orangeburg Road. 81, sunny today, 77 tomorrow. We're just enjoying some, a little more South Carolina fall-like weather, so to speak. But it is going to be absolutely beautiful for the South Carolina State Fair all this week. Looking for a high of 80 for game day. Right now, 59 on the early game.
It's been a busy show so far. It's going to be a really busy week for the post-game show. Jay Phillips and Terry Ford. Thursday, that's tomorrow, right? Today is Wednesday. Yeah, it is. From 3 to 6, post-game show tomorrow, live from US Brick. That's at 300 Hugh G Street here in Columbia, again from 3 to 6. And then they'll be on the road on Friday because the post-game show Friday tailgate will come from Krager Showrooms on Gadsden Street, the artist formerly known as The Nest in the Vista. So stop by for great food from Coyote Grills and some Savage Craft beer. And that last little sentence fragment of and some Savage Craft beer is what's going to get me there. That's it. Now, I was going to be there anyway because I joined them for the Wild Card Showdown, but that's how you get me there faster.
Okay.
That's your say, Elijah, we need you
Good
there
to know.
early. All right, we need you starting at 5:15, but if you want me there early, that's how you get it. So I'm a very easy man to be able to bribe. We'll be doing a lot of talking about the South Carolina Gamecock team on that day. We'll be doing it today and tomorrow and the rest of the week. But one of the themes is going to be how you turn this season around. Obviously, at the beginning of the season, the expectations were high. You got the quarterback back with Heisman-level expectations because of how you ended the season last year. But it hasn't played out the way you hoped, right? The whole goal in the offseason, the theme was going further than you did last year, taking that success and taking it to the next level. Hasn't lived up to that so far because you're 3-3. You're the exact same spot you were this time last season. But then what happened in the last 6 weeks? You go 6-0, and you become one of the hottest teams in college football, if not the hottest team in college football by the time December rolled around. So what's this situation? What's this 3-3 like compared to last year's 3-3? And are there any parallels to the first 6 games this year compared to the first 10 games of 2022, where you struggled a lot through the year and you had a tough road ahead with a top 5 Tennessee team and a Clemson team that was also on the doorstep of a 4-team college football playoff? They beat them both. Well, Shane Beamer was asked about that, and this is what he had to say. This is cut 5, Ed Bird.
Season, Florida in 22, that was game 10, I think, was the Florida game. So it's different points of the season. I think the only thing I take from it, Hale, is just continuing to just keep getting better and what's next and what's in front of us. And yeah, that's in the past, that's in the rearview mirror. The first 6 games, we've learned from it, but it's behind us. And 2 years ago after Florida, last year after Ole Miss, and then Alabama, that's behind us. All we can control is what's next, and right now what's next is today it was having a great Tuesday practice, tomorrow is having a great Wednesday practice, and then going out there and focusing on Oklahoma and trying to play really well against a really good team on Saturday, and just keep moving forward, control what you can control, and keep getting better. And that's what I told the team out there at the end of practice today was we've always been a team that has gotten better as the year has gone. You can say a lot about the teams that I've coached as the head coach, but one thing that you can't say is that we haven't gotten better every single season as the year goes. And I saw signs of that. We didn't win the game, but I saw signs of that on Saturday, and saw signs of that with the way that we went out and approached practice on Sunday night after I got off the teleconference with you guys, and the way that we practiced today. I see signs of us, not signs, I see us getting better. And then the key for us that you take from previous years and then this year is we've just got to keep doing that and keep moving forward. And we can't sit around here and be sad boys because we're 3-3 and just lost a heartbreaker in a lot of ways to LSU. It's pick yourself off the mat and get ready to go again. And that's life. And that's what we did in 22. That's what we did in 23 to a certain degree when we were sitting there at 2-6 and what we did last year and what we need to do this year as well.
Can't be sad boys about it because the word on the street is that sad songs and waltzes aren't selling this year.
Ooh, classic. One of my favorites.
One of my favorites.
Listen.
Cake did a great cover of that.
Did they?
That's actually where I heard that song first.
Really? Yeah. One of my favorite Willies, for sure.
Yes.
But yes, sad songs and waltzes ain't selling this year, for sure. And nobody wants to hear it. And that's what you got to tell. That's what I'm sure. That's how you tell Lonnie. It's like, hey, man, listen, I know there's injuries. I know there's miscommunication. I know. But guess what? We want results in this business.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what we have to try and figure out is, because this is kind of getting skirted over, and A change was needed. A fresh coat of paint was needed and all that. But I still haven't gotten an adequate answer on the idea that Sean Elliott was the run game coordinator. So, like, what exactly was he doing while he was there? What was his level of input? What was his involvement in the offensive line? Because that's sort of what he was brought in here to be. And I'm curious as how that has worked out.
I think one of the things that will be expected as a part of this coaching change isn't maybe a drastic difference in how the run blocking looks. Now, you're still going to expect improvement because clearly throughout 6 games, you haven't gotten the results you wanted, partially because you are not getting a lot of push on the offensive line. But one thing he did say did take a little bit of a peek into why you make this decision, and that is control what you can control. In the Missouri and LSU losses, I think if you cut out the penalties in those games, you have a much better shot to win, and there's a good chance you can win those, right? You can take advantage of being down 1 score and being on LSU's 26 with a fresh set of downs and a little bit of momentum of moving the ball, but you couldn't take advantage of it because of penalties. Against Missouri, another double-digit penalty game. You couldn't take advantage of that because you didn't control what you could control. And a lot of that are procedural stuff, right? It's procedural penalties. The stupid stuff that you shoot yourself in the foot with that gave you no chance to win whenever Missouri kicked that field goal at the end of the game. When LSU kicked the field goal at the end of the game, just this Saturday, you had no chance to win it because you didn't take advantage of any of the gifts the other team gave you because of the self-inflicted things. That maybe if the offensive line just controls what they can control, and I don't even say limit the procedural penalties. I say eliminate the procedural penalties.
I'm with you.
And you're fully controlling what you can control, then maybe you do pick off one of these teams that you're playing in the next 4 games, all of which will be against top 11 teams.
That makes so much sense because this idea, like, we know what the talent level is on the offensive line. We've seen what they can do when assuming they're not going to jump and automatically be the top of the SEC because Sean Elliott comes in and does his magic yelling dust, and that's probably not going to happen. But to your point, controlling what you control, think about it like, hey, man, put some clean clothes on, take a shower,
You can
brush
control
your
that.
teeth, right? You can do all these things. You may not be the cutest, the handsomest, but you can control a couple of things to get yourself in the game, and then we can go from there. But listen, bro, you're not taking a shower. You got spinach in your teeth. You don't have a chance.
You're not plucking your eyebrows.
Yeah, you don't have a shot. So let's take care of the basic things first and then see where they go from there.
Oh, yeah. So much of human attractiveness is just taking care of yourself.
Take care of yourself, and then we'll see where we can go.
It's the blocking and tackling.
You may not get to the top because that might not be in the cards for you.
Right. But you will maximize your potential, and that's all we are looking for here. And we're not gaslighting you when we tell you that. You can accuse Kirby Smart of gaslighting whenever he was doing his timeout clap here that he said wasn't meant to be a timeout. That's a good form of gaslighting, but there's a school in the Big Ten that is starting to gaslight everybody in terms of where athletic departments are in a post-house settlement world. And we got a very good glimpse into the reality of these schools. And we'll discuss what school that is and how they're gaslighting you next here on the early game.
I think he's trying to talk to you in your headphones. Hey, it's Jen for CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. All that demolition that we had to do in the kitchen literally took it down to the studs thanks to a flood. But CHW Cabinetry made it such a Several accidents have been cleared, but we do have a few still remaining. Pisgah Church Road at Highway 1, also Old Barnwell Road near Old Orangeburg Road, and Cox Ferry Road at Fox Branch. Beautiful weather on the way. We are looking for a high today of about 81 and 77 tomorrow, 74 on Friday, looking for 80 with sunshine on Saturday. So beautiful, fair weather, and going to be great football weather this weekend. Going to be a little bit cool Friday morning, overnight low of about 48. So kind of plan your jacket weather accordingly. 58 currently on the early game.
Earlier this summer, the House settlement was reached, and for some, they were waving their doomsday flags, sounding off doomsday alarms for college athletics. What do you mean we got to share our revenue now? $20.5 million? What do you mean we got to share that revenue now? And some of those complaints came from the highest levels of college football, the Big Ten, the SEC, even the other two conferences, and what we know as the Power Four in the ACC and the Big 12. Started to sound a little broker than what they liked to maybe give out publicly, right? And that thought was, for me personally, was, okay, we'll see how many schools are willing to fire coaches with large buyouts if the whole funding, your revenue sharing thing was a problem. If that was a really big problem, then, you might not be satisfied with your head coach. So maybe you might just have to live with the reality of having that coach until you can afford to fire them. Maybe that would incentivize more fiscal responsibility from these athletic departments. Well, that hasn't stopped some schools from firing coaches that require buyouts. Brent Pry got fired. Oregon State just fired their coach. There are plenty of coaches who have been fired so far to start this year already. Sam Pittman, that requires a buyout. Oklahoma State with Mike Gundy, that requires a buyout. Even Stanford, Troy Taylor required a buyout. UCLA and Deshaun Foster requires a buyout. And then the buyout to end all 2025 buyouts.
The final boss.
The final boss, James Franklin. That was upwards to $50 million in buyouts. Stuart Mandel from The Athletic did a really good job of laying this out and really conveying a point that I have felt when I saw that news that Penn State fired James Franklin and will have to pay him $50 million, big ones, to just go away. Paying $50 million for one to go away. It's a lot of money. But Stuart Mandel did a really good job of talking about how much money they're willing to use to do that, but maybe push back against certain progresses in college athletics to try to keep it to where you're not constantly getting sued. Stewart did the math so I wouldn't have to. And he says, quote, by year's end, the combined cost of these buyouts, because he also threw in the potential buyout for firing Florida's Billy Napier and Wisconsin's Luke Fickell, because that's getting really messy too. The combined cost of those buyouts could well exceed $200 million. He says, let that sink in for a second. Suppose institutions of higher learning have managed to negotiate themselves into paying $200 million to people who will no longer be working for them. Just how much is $200 million? Well, for one thing, it's enough to pay the scholarships for roughly 5,000 women's and Olympic sports athletes. You may be asking yourself,
Network and streaming on the 107.5 The Game app.
don't know what happened there, but I will continue to read because we're pros. $200 million could roughly fund 5,000 women's and Olympic sports athletes. So you may be asking yourself, how do schools keep entertaining these ridiculous one-sided coaching contracts that cost more than the House settlement salary cap, which is $20.5 million, to extricate themselves from? And then he goes on to explain in further detail how that happens. But just think about it. Schools were talking about, oh, we can't do this. We can't agree to these terms because this will kill college sports, because we can't fund all these scholarships if we have to spend $20.5 million every year to share our revenue.
How would we ever do this?
How would we ever do it? But when it comes to firing a head coach who just got you within 2 plays of going to the college football playoff championship, Penn State found $50 million pretty damn easily.
Mm-hmm.
This is all just a case in point that the biggest lie I told to you was that the House settlement was something that was going to kill college sports, and that these universities who are making all the money now, the discussion of smaller schools, that valid discussion. But for your Big Tens, your SECs, your ACCs, your Big 12s, it was never about not having it. Because if you want to fire a coach, they'll find the money, just not when it comes to paying players.
Yeah, or providing scholarships for other sports who are quote unquote non-revenue generating sports. Mm-hmm. But as we can see, they have the funds to do what they want to do with the money. And that's kind of where this whole concept of like, well, it's a business. No, it's not a business. They don't operate these things as businesses. They operate them as nonprofit entities, mm-hmm. and they never really have to run up against the same pressures, market pressures that businesses have to, whether it's through contracts, whether it's through facilities, whether it's through payment of labor force. They're not operating as businesses. So they keep trying to throw it out there like, oh, it's really tough out here. Where are we going to get the money? They have it.
Are we getting to a point where they're going to have to restructure some of these coaches' buyout deals and things like that? I mean, because at some point, yeah, it looks really bad when you can't pay a bunch of different scholarships, but yet, yeah, you have somebody who's not on your payroll anymore, still on your payroll.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think maybe the getting has already been gotten, and these next rounds of contracts might look a little bit different as far as the total amount of compensation, as far as the buyouts. All of those things will be a little bit different. Also, people are figuring out, oh, hey, yeah, the reason why your team wins is because of the talent. So maybe we should be putting more money into the players who are making the teams win, sort of like how they do on the big leagues.
Yeah, there's a correlation there, right, between what you're paying players and what you're paying coaches. And what Stewart does, I highly recommend this story in The Athletic, because what Stewart does a really good job of is going back in time a little bit to 2021 when Lincoln Riley got hired. And it's a massive deal, a record-breaking deal. LSU hires Brian Kelly. It's a massive record-breaking deal. Penn State was the same year that they extended James Franklin to, at the time, a record-breaking deal for how much Penn State has paid a coach. And there's a common denominator in all these, and it's a fella named Jimmy Sexton.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What Jimmy Sexton has done to be able to milk money from colleges has exposed them in a way to say, hey, look, what you're willing to do to get one guy to leave and stop doing his job kind of proves some of the assertions you have made when fighting some of these things in court.
And does he get paid on buyout as well as, the terms? So,
I'm sure if he's that good, I'm sure he has it. I'm sure he's very well protected.
Like, how many of those $50 million are going to Jimmy Sexton?
Exactly. Is he getting a 20%? I mean, then, yeah, he's probably like slipping notes to advantage. You need to fire him. He's not helping you out.
Yeah, and what's even worse is they call him back. They're like, yeah, we just fired one of your clients. Oh, yeah, by the way, can we hire another one of your clients?
Correct.
Yeah, right.
It's like you walk out the door and back in the door, fired, hired door,
Yep.
My advice for Matt Rule is, if you really want the Penn State job and Jimmy Sexton is not your agent already, give Jimmy a call.
Yeah. I bet he'll take the call.
Oh, and he will absolutely
He'll
take
answer.
a call. Yeah, if there's a hot name in the coaching carousel, Jimmy Sexton will probably find you, right?
And also the other part about that, the idea of them complaining, or as the old folks would say, pole mouthing, is that, oh man, how are we ever going to get to this $20 million? How can we spend more than $20 million now?
A lot of them are trying to circumvent that.
Yep.
I mean, Steve Ballmer from the Los Angeles Clippers, their owner, has been in the news.
We need a cap so that all of y'all can follow it, but
not me.
Not me.
Exactly.
I, smart businessman, will find a way to circumvent it. You all will have to play by the rules because you're not as smart as I am. That's not, well, I mean, really, if there's a winner in this segment, it's Jimmy Sexton. But we have winners for our show, and we'll give you the winners for today's show coming up next. So do I, Coach. We all want winners, and that's what we do in the final segment of every show. So here on the early game, third and long hour, that is how we're going to conclude. We're giving our winners for today's show, and I think the easiest way to go with this, the thing that's taken the show by storm, sad boy music. Some of you have some really good sad boy songs. I'm a fan of a lot of them. I'm learning some because some of them I've not been familiar with, but some of these I can attest to having on my own sad boy playlist.
Man, yeah, music was going to be my route for today for my winners anyway. So let's go ahead and start with rest in peace to Michael D'Angelo Archer.
Yes.
One of the greatest soul singers, passed away 2 days ago, I believe. We talk about players being cool. D'Angelo is cool with a
Yes.
capital C. I mean, it's the cornrows, leather jacket, cigarette, plays the piano, the arch of cool. The dude, he's a rare trick of being able to be a ladies' man. Also, the dudes like you too. It's kind of that's a rare trick where you can't necessarily. Sometimes if you're the ladies' man, the dudes don't necessarily like you. But we always kind of felt like, hey man, he's one of us.
It's like
Look
a
at
Venn
him,
diagram, but that Venn diagram is very, very thin, right?
very very thin. So rare trick of being able to be the guy that the ladies love, but also dudes are like, yeah, that's my guy. So rest in peace, D'Angelo, the epitome of cool.
Papa Joe says, sad boy music. End of the Road by Boys to Men. Mm-hmm. It's a good one.
Also middle school dance music.
Very much so, right?
And the boys probably thought that song meant something different than the girls thought. Oh, this is a nice slow song. This is the end of the road. I'm not dancing with you again.
Not a great song. Yeah,
No.
When you hear the words, it's like, oh man, it's tough.
It's tough. Yeah, the subject matter is what does it. And then, of course, another one here. There's so many. You all killed it today. But Nameless Texture, Creep by Radiohead. Very good.
Yeah, absolutely.
What? Go for it.
Well, I was just going to go. I was going to continue the theme with D'Angelo's abs. Because
winner.
The video for How Does It Feel sent waves through communities in the early 2000s. If you haven't seen that video, watch it by yourself. But it is a masterpiece and also made many men jealous because you did not have abs like D'Angelo, and maybe your girlfriend at the time was fawning over those abs, and maybe you hated that video just a little bit. Oh, I'm just talking about myself.
It had a ripple effect.
Serious ripple effect. So D'Angelo's abs, winners.
It sounds like there might have been talking from experience there.
Just maybe.
Maybe a little bit.
Slightly.
But maybe it inspired more men across the country to start doing some more crunches, incorporating crunches into the workout, right?
Yeah, but the problem is you can do all the crunches you want, but you can't play the piano like that. And you don't smoke
Also
a
true.
cigarette like that.
Control what you can control.
You can't do all those things that he does, man.
But you can control what you can control.
Right.
Always great coaching advice. One of my winners for today, coaching advice Preston got. Or not advice, maybe just a line Preston got from a coach when it came to procedural penalties. Because he got all he got when talking about South Carolina's number of procedural penalties against LSU. I got some medicine for that.
That's what
Football
he said.
medicine.
And as Bon Jovi said, bad medicine.
Bad medicine. Yes, it was. He said it with a smile. He just like, I got some medicine for
And
that.
it had that wringing of the hands kind of a thing. Like,
Yes.
Another winner, villains. Because last night the Dodgers beat the Brewers on the road.
That's a good thing because at this point, as a Cubs fan, Brewers, you're going down.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
We're going to see the Dodgers in the World Series again. Now it feels like a foregone conclusion. And I don't want them to win it. I'm not going to lie. I can't watch the Dodgers do this.
No, I'd rather not.
I can't watch the evil empire win. All right. I do sometimes I like seeing villains win. Sometimes I think that's one of the reasons I enjoy watching The Empire Strikes Back, because that is peak Darth Vader, and you're seeing him at the peak of his powers. That's great. But you know what? There's a reason people like watching Return of the Jedi too, is to see them get dethroned.
Yeah, but you'd be remiss not to mention that. Here we go. Let's go. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Yoshinobu Yamamoto. The pitcher.
Yeah.
Yamamoto for the pitcher for the Dodgers. Pitches the complete game. Does not happen ever anymore.
No.
Did it in
That's a good
game
point.
2 of the NLCS.
That's big time.
He has some nasty stuff. That dude can pitch. And that's like the dangerous thing with that Dodgers team too, is Blake Snell, who seemingly off the radar all year, playoff start, and the guy pitches like a Cy Young Award winner. It's remarkable. It's remarkable the switch he's had. And then you combine what Blake Snell is doing with Yamamoto, who has been lights out in this playoff series. And not just playoff series, this playoff run for the Dodgers. They feel inevitable, and they're a winner.
Last winner. Sad boys everywhere. It's gonna get better. It's gonna get better.
is.
Yep.
It's gonna be okay. The sun's gonna shine, and either she's gonna come back or she's not, or whatever's gonna happen. But it's gonna be okay. Sad boys are fine, and it's okay. It's okay to live in that space for a little while.
Sad boys, control what you can control. Don't make a bad situation worse. And only you can avoid the bad situation from getting worse.
Also,
Trust me.
if being a sad boy is about a girl, you're not gonna get more being a sad boy.
No.
It's not how this.
You're not going to turn around your 3-3 start being a sad boy. You're not going to turn around that situationship by being a sad boy. It's okay to be one for reflection, but not for further results. Those are our winners for today's show. Tyler Head, Jack Veltri, they're winners. They're next.